All right, yeah. So no, like I was saying though, when I heard that first couple of songs, I was like, okay, this is this isn't the normal crap that you get from like metal that's coming out these days. It's either watered down or it just doesn't sound like anything that you really want to listen to unless you're getting into like some black metal and like the Norwegian Amon Amarth is still kicking ass, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the newer things these days, it doesn't sound, it's not heavy. It sounds like it's trying to fit a mold.
That's yeah, you know, there's a formula and it's a guaranteed formula to sell. And especially after Corona, people need to like the safety of what's gonna sell. And I don't know if it's like an effect over the last 10 years or something, but there's everybody sticks to what they know works. And I hate that to be honest. Um we I'm not saying that we are like super different or experimental or brand new even, but we don't really think in a way that goes like, okay, what's gonna sell and what will please the people of some sort. This is kind of like, let's just go with what flows, and that's us. It's not really it's not made for a purpose. It's coming from within. Cheesy but true.
Well, and it's like they say, if it comes naturally, then it's just going to flow a lot better, and it's going to come out in the performance. It's going to come out in the recordings. Like you can tell when three people are in a band and they just absolutely hate one person in the band. It
Oh
comes
yeah.
through. And
Yeah,
if everybody gets along, you can hear it in the music, you can see it in the performance. It's genuine. It's not fake.
for sure. This is, yeah. I mean, yeah, there's so many examples over the years where members hated each other and then it just went downhill, right? We kind of try to stick together. We've over the last couple of years we've been through ups and downs, and we did change a whole bunch of members, some for personal reasons, and it showed live over recordings, whatever it is, like videos. It's a different vibe when you don't get along, and I feel like now we've reached a point where it's like we're good. There's no more drama. There's no more problems. Now we just can fully concentrate on the music, and then let let people think whatever they want. But uh, that's us, and I'm pretty happy with where we are now. Actually.
Nice. That's good. That's good. Uh, it, I'm gonna, I guess, kind of introduce everybody. You're
Mm,
Boris with Detractor. You guys are out of Hamburg, Germany, correct?
yeah.
All right.
Exactly. Well,
Is that where you're from?
none of us are from here. We've been so with this the so this last version of the lineup. So there's me. I'm originally from Bulgaria, but I've lived in Canada most of my life. And the two other guys are from Chile. So Rafa is one of the founding members. So me and him are from the beginning, and then a couple of years ago, like I guess around the time where Corona kicked in, we changed a little bit our lineup, and then we found Pablo, who is also from Chile. He's the drummer of this band called Undercroft, which they were pretty big in the '90s from Chile, and they kind of death metal. We do a little tribute of them on this album.
Evolution, right?
Evolution, yeah,
That
that's
song is I I didn't mean to cut you off there. I'm kind of fanboying out right now. Just because I'd never heard of Undercroft before until I saw that Pablo was on that band, and they started out in the very early days of like the death metal stages, right? 92, 93, 90-ish.
Something like that. Yeah.
And you can hear it in the music because I checked out Undercroft once I saw Pablo was from there, and you can hear like you guys did a spitting image of that song. It was fantastic with what was this guy's name? Dirk, the guest vocalist.
Yeah, Dirk, he's also another band maybe you should definitely check out if you don't know already. Warpath, also German band from they started in the 90s, but now it's kind of like a revamp of the whole band and very much worth it. It's like a combination of like old people.
Nothing wrong with that. Dusting off some of the classics, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I wanted to ask. So this is you guys' fourth album, right?
Second full length album. We have two EPs at first,
Okay,
but full scale, all in album is the number two.
gotcha. And it's full body stomp. It's a really good album.
Thanks,
But I
man.
wanted to ask you. So you got Pablo, the new drummer, a couple years ago.
Mm.
How did the dynamics of just recording, practicing, all of that? How did that shift once Pablo came on board? Because like you said, he's a 30-year vet. Did did it spark anything like oh my god, we used to listen to some bands from back when this guy started. We're playing with like some ancient entities type things, or was it just like, hey, we got Pablo here, cool?
So he's always been a friend. I mean, we even recorded the first album in the studio. There, he owns the studio, so it was a pretty easy integration. But um, we've known him for a while, and when we kind of decided to try it out, it was a whole new level of skill, of experience. Even it was not only did it kind of click right away, he also it was this consistency and this kind of like you could see the experience over the last 30, 40 years of him, whether it's in the studio, whether it's playing live or jamming, the ideas, it was like completely new and completely fresh, but all of a sudden it just kind of there was no walls anymore. I could tell him, hey man, can you try this? And then he would just go for it. And it will be like something way more than what I could ever imagine. And it was just wow. Of course, he's a lot more death metal than what we used to, so we had to, slow down the blast beats a bit. Um, but no, he's wonderful. He's just at next level in terms of musicianship and professionalism and just self discipline altogether. Is just it opened a whole new set of doors for us that we could never imagine that was possible before.
Well, that's awesome to hear, and it actually you've answered the second question that I was going to ask, and it's because Pablo's been around for a little bit longer. I was going to ask if you guys picked up any influences from his his band as you guys were maybe growing up, or just anything from his like from the Undercroft band at all. Just any influences there. I know you said you did the Evolution tribute, which, like I said, I think that was a pretty good song as a cover goes. So, like, anything else from the death metal days?
I mean, we do listen to death metal occasionally, but Undercroft has been around our kind of circle a lot. We've been fans of Undercroft for many years, and everybody kind of has their individual history with them. But finally, when we when when I moved to Germany and then got introduced to the circle of friends, then I discovered that they were here in the same city. So that was a bit weird for me. But we were, I mean, they're I've known Undercroft for a while, and I've kind of been a fan, but I have to admit it's only been maybe 5, 6, 7 years that I actually, after hanging around with them, I got introduced to them and their influences, and it opened my mind of what Undergrowth actually is. And when it comes to death metal, we all have like various different flavors of it, and Pablo is he likes everything. He listens to everything. So for him, it's not just death metal. For him, it's kind of like music, and I think that is a bit more important than labeling anything as death metal or thrash metal or whatever they like to call us nowadays.
I agree.
But I think it shows a little bit when you talk to him and when you talk to the other guys. Actually, to be fair, we've played with literally almost every member of the latest Undercroft constellation. um, so our first show was with Alvaro, who was the vocalist of Undercroft, the vocalist slash bassist. He's now in Watain, which is a very well known black metal band. um, we've played with him. He covered our bass duties in our first show many years ago, and same with Tomate, who is also now in Warpath, and it's like a spread thing. But listening to these guys, it's not just about death metal or anything. Just death metal, kind of for them, it's like their thing. But they can play whatever.
Oh yeah.
Pablo has been in so many bands, and all of them have been in so many bands that it ranges from groove rock to death metal to black metal. They played thrash, and it's just there's no such thing as a label, and I think that's really important when it comes to creating music, because there's zero limits, and it should have zero limits, to be honest, or labels for that matter.
Yeah, I would agree with you because, like you said, if you set out to make a thrash metal album, you're gonna be you're gonna make sure that that's what it is that you produce. Whereas if you just set out to make a good album, whatever comes out is probably going to be the best rendition of what it is you're trying to do.
For sure. And I mean, when back in the day when they were making thrash for the first time, it's not like somebody came and said, "Oh yeah, let's make thrash metal." It was just
Right? It didn't exist.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know, we live in Germany. Everybody kind of likes to label things here when we get categorized in a very specific column there, but it's not what it is. When you say thrash metal, which kind of thrash do you mean, right? Is it like Sodom, Creator? Is it like whatever, Exodus? Is it Slayer? It's this, the spectrum is huge, and that's why I don't like the label. This is If I had to really call it something, it would be groove metal, but that really also doesn't do it justice because Pantera are kings of that. But like it's just music. It's heavy metal, man, and that's all that really matters, to be honest.
Yep. You and I kind of agree on that then. So you've got country music, you've got heavy metal, you've got hair metal, and then but
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's metal, but it's a different style metal, and it's
sure.
an easily distinguished metal. So yeah, I don't like the thrash metal, doom metal, that stuff. I don't know.
Mm,
It fractures the movement as far as I'm concerned.
that's nicely put. Fractures the movement. Yeah, yeah.
So so I've got to ask you. I've been listening to. I've been listening to you guys quite a bit since I did that review and got that first album. Uh, so how does this how does this album, Full Body Stomp, how does it compare to your previous record and your other two EPs? Just intensity, you name it. How does it differ?
It we're older now. That's that's a key factor. No, it's I think this was exactly the direction that we wanted to go before, but we kind of weren't allowing ourselves to. Um, with our first EPs, it was weird. Like the first EP, it was quickly done just so for us to put our name on the map somehow, and we were working on those 4 songs for like a year, and it was a strange combination of things. But that first EP got us a lot of open doors, and um, then we kind of moved on to a little bit of a more experimental EP where we got in contact with Dirk from the bassist of Gamma Ray, and we jammed with him a couple of times, and he ended up producing and recording that EP. And that one is also weird sounding a little bit. It's kind of like a completely different style, kind of heavy metally, like more older and softer vibes. Grinder came along as like we had to record an album, and we recorded that album, and it was aggressive, it was cool. Some of the songs we've been playing for years, so it wasn't like a whole new wave. It was kind of what we were doing live for a long time, and we just had to put it on CD. This album was completely different. We changed lineup. We got rid of the old studio. We got a brand new studio with a whole bunch more equipment and kind of a completely different setup. We set up our uh, like everything with the computer. Everything was mic'd, and all the jams and whatever ideas were recorded 100%, so we could go over it. And then Corona hit, and we weren't really allowed to go to the studio because there were these rules of like only 2 people at a time could meet. Otherwise, you'd be breaking the law. So I mean, we met only 2 people at a time, sure. But it was a different vibe. We weren't really allowed to jam very loud um, because there was neighbors and we could get caught or something. So it was more of a let's think about it a bit. And whenever we would get together to jam, we already had the ideas kind of prepared, and we knew exactly which direction we wanted to go to. And we said, okay, for this time, let's just write whatever we feel like it. And when we got together, it was literally we had an idea, we just had to like perfect it. There was a lot of thought process involved. There was no rushing. We weren't going to release this album was ready 2 years ago. We weren't really going to release it during Corona. It didn't make sense. So we took our time. We thought about the songs. We thought about what we really wanted to do. We didn't just do filler stuff just to have it. So that's the difference. I think the album was well kind of produced by ourselves. We took our time, we thought about it, we made sure that everything fit. The vocals took a while to record. We redid several different versions. Drums took a really long time. We ended up even recording an ABBA cover, but we weren't allowed to release that because, reasons. But yeah, that was it completely different environment. The attitude towards this album was just much more calm and down to earth, and no rushing, no stressing. That we didn't have any timing constraints, so it was great, to be honest. I love working that way.
Yeah, I could see that being a beneficial thing versus, trying to put something out all frantic and in a
Mm.
rush. um Now you said this album was ready a couple years ago, but you guys just kind of sat down, fine tuned it, went through some actual like thought processes on some of the vocals and stuff. But uh since it has been out for a little bit, are you guys touring the area? I know you and I touched on this a little bit with like
Mm.
some of the touring and Germany and stuff, but are you guys going to go out this winter or spring and full on promote the album in person?
Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. We have some plans for next year. We have a couple of festivals already booked, but because of Corona, everything is kind of really hard to get into, and there's a huge waiting list for a lot of the shows. So we're trying to work out a little bit of a different approach. I can't really say much yet. So we're trying our best to do this next year. I mean, this winter is already gone, and our album came pretty late in the year. So um, I mean, December is a pretty dead month for shows anyway. But like we try from basically February, March on to get as much as possible, and we're working on some couple of other angles to maybe get some tours going. It's hard, man. The business is hard nowadays. Corona really fucked everything up, and um, getting any festivals you can is pretty much the only way to go. And we've been trying to do that. So there are still some announcements to come, but it's in the works. Everything is kind of in the works. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, fans got to pay attention and stay tuned, huh?
Yeah, the whatever tuned means, but stay tuned.
Ah, the cliffhanger. I love it. Don't know what's coming up. The suspense. All
Yeah.
right. So I this one's kind of a weird question, but I still kind of like it anyway. So
Go
since
for
you
it.
guys are based over there in Germany right now, I mean, there's just a ton of metal that's come out of Germany. Uh, you got Rammstein, you've got, I think, Creator, like you said. I think they're out of Germany.
Mhm.
Who would you say is one of your favorite bands that's from the area? It could be new or old. I'm into finding out new stuff too.
So we okay. I grew up with a lot of Creator, Tankard, Sodom, uh, whatever, like the typical thrash that came out from the 80s. That's like the I think they call it here the Teutonic Four, and then they have like the Big Four equivalent in America. And so yeah, I grew up with a lot of that. That's really great. But over the years, I got to know bands like Disbelief, um, great death metal band, also from the 90s. They still around playing shows, doing everything they can. Um, I mentioned before Warpath, just definitely check those guys out. Also a local German band. We have a couple of friends from Pripyat. They're kind of Ukrainian guys living in Germany right now, and they've been making music for a while too. Also great music. Yeah, man, that's actually it's hard to tell. It's hard to say that there's one band. Every band that you kind of discover that makes sense, I added to my list, and I've tried to actually time to plug my shit. On the Detractor Spotify page, I've made like a little playlist of our current favorites, and of course that will changes over time. I guess current favorites like from Germany, but it's the people that we are kind of associated with that kind of I like their music, and they are Germans. So if maybe for a more extensive list, go check it out. But yeah, I don't really have. We've met quite a lot of German bands, and all of them are impressive in their own way. And I would say that my ultimate top one favorite for now is Disbelief.
Okay.
Uh, the rest is equally good. I would not say that it's less, but that's what I listen to when I go to go to work in the morning or some shit. It's that's what's in my headphones right now.
I'm gonna have to check them out. I haven't heard of them before.
Worth it,
Um,
totally worth it.
Disbelief. Okay. And then as far as like you said, you've got that link of stuff. If you want to shoot that over to me in Facebook on Messenger, I'll add that link to this interview, and that way people can go
Nice.
check it out too.
Yeah, we'll do.
Um. All right. So we've kind of touched on some influences, some of Pablo's past stuff, you guys's. But I want to ask you, as the vocalist, as one of the founding members of the band, of all of the music that you've created, is there one song or one album. Well, I shouldn't say album because you've got the two EPs and then the two full lengths.
Mm.
But is there just one piece of work that you've made in Detraktor that maybe a lot of people either don't see the raw emotion in it that you did? Just what is there something in there that you're super proud of that you would like more people to pay attention to?
Yeah, I mean, this new album is completely exactly that. We've done a lot of songs in the past that I'm really proud of. Um, Whether they came out exactly what I wanted them or not, it's a different question. But my all-time favorite that I would really love people to take a listen um, to is Seven. It's from this new album. It's a 7 minute song. Everybody thinks that we called it Seven because it's a 7 minute song, but it's a 7 minute song because we called it Seven. And it's about, it's stupid, but it's about the spider that lost a leg and is waiting to die. And the song is ultimately about desperation and hopelessness. But, but so far, nobody knows that. They all assume that it's a 7 minute song and that's why it's called Seven. But that one is my favorite because it's weird, it's complex, it's kind of different than what we do, and I struggled really hard with that song. It took us forever to finalize, but I think the end result is just awesome. Um, that one I would say is my top one of the entire Detractor discography right now.
Okay. Yeah, and I will say this, for the new Full Body Stomp album, that song does stand out because it is a little bit longer. The rest are,
Yeah.
like you said, thrashy 4.5 minute songs. And this one's a little bit longer. So yeah, just right off the bat, it stands out as, hey, this one's not like the rest. And I thought it was coincidental. Song 7 is 7 minutes long.
And then yeah, that's it was we decided to frame it, as everything is sevens, but ultimately it's the song is about hopelessness, and it's about the like I said, a spider that lost a leg. So essentially it's a creature that is kind of broken and it's waiting to die because it's kind of useless now. So and the whole song is about that. We decided to make a mockery out of it and see who and make it sevens.
Nice. So about this spider, he's lost one leg and he's just feeling despair and just giving up on life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't dawn on him that he's got 7 others, or is that kind of the point of the song?
No, it's of course, talking about a spider, it could be whatever, but this it's that's not kind of the point. It's that when you're stuck in a situation, you are hopeless. And the whole situation is about desperation and waiting for death. And that's what the song kind of touches on. And whether this is I don't know. Let's say you shoot something, an animal or a human or something, and then you let them bleed out. It's this feeling of waiting to die, and the hopelessness of actually doing it. Like you feel useless yourself, and there's nothing you can do. So you kind of just accept it, and you're forced to accept it, and you just wait there. You sit there and you ponder, and then you're wondering like when or why or whatever, every other emotion that comes to your mind. And that's what the song is about.
Okay. Nice. I'm gonna have to check that out whenever we get off this interview. I wanna listen to it now with a little bit more insight.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Let me see. I've only got just a couple more questions. I don't want to keep you too long. I know we said about a half hour. So,
No worries, man. No worries.
um this is just kind of like one of those I don't know, the wish list. If you guys were able to go on tour, say tomorrow, who would you bring along with you?
Who who would we bring along, or who would we attach ourselves to?
Either or, depending on who it is you're wanting to tour. Who would you think would be like just an awesome tour? It's like you and two, three other bands just all jamming out.
There's a Pantera tribute happening. There's a Dark Angel tribute happening. Sorry, the Pantera reunion happening. Dark Angel reunion happening. Which the dream. Um, to be honest, we have so many influences that we would love to tour with. When if we want to support somebody, I straight up say people like Exodus, or somebody like Testament, or yeah, whatever. Some of the big band. If we wanted to just jam with our friends, have a tour, I would go with the guys from Disbelief and Warpath. We already did a tour once with them 5 years ago, I think it was, and it was awesome. And if I could do that again, this time with a bit more maturity, with a bit more experience and better dates, and I would do that again. But not to say anything, but I really want to play with Pantera. So
Yeah, they are coming out with that new lineup, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be
Like
interesting.
my teenager years, or my teenager inside me is kind of like revolting and going like, what the fuck, man, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. It's the drummer from Anthrax, right? And Zach
Yeah,
Wild.
yeah, it's Charlie Benante and Zach Wild, and of course it's Zach Wild. I mean, he's like the perfect fit. Like, I wouldn't really think of anybody else. He was the closest one, and he could do the closest kind of squeals.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Mm.
him and Dime pretty much. I mean, they were brothers in what was that, Guitar World, that magazine that they uh pretty much like built and wrote almost every article in there.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating, but
Could be, but yeah, he is the one, man, and I'm looking forward to that. Whether it's as a fan, or if ever there's a chance that we join even a small, show somewhere that they do, that would be just a lifetime achievement, I would say.
Well, you guys got a chance. I'd say you guys got some pretty good music. And I don't. It seems like it would be a perfect fit for something like that. You guys got you could tell the influence from Pantera and Sepultura a lot, especially in your vocals. I was like, oh my god, you hear Max come out of that quite a bit. But and you still keep it your own. So
Thanks, man.
so I got one last question, and then I'll let you go. No need to keep you on here if you got stuff to do. I know it's getting to be about dinner time, right?
Sure.
uh so you guys have been out since 2016, so that's 6 years, given almost
Hmm.
7 now. Where do you see Detractor going in the next couple years, next 5 years or so?
Oof, the golden question, right? Now, if only the world slowed down a little bit so that we can make any plans. Oof. My idea of the tractor has always been push it to the max, whether that requires sacrifices or some extreme planning. It's always like we're trying to go further. So I want to establish ourselves in, at least in some sort of festival culture, or at least to be a band that we can go somewhere and we know that we can find familiar people or friends or fans or whatever it is, without having. I mean, it's always going to be a lot of work, but but it doesn't have to be this hard and to break in. And we have to be realistic. Everybody's super overwhelmed, and there's 1,000 bands waiting to take your spot. But I want to keep that spot, and I want to establish that spot, and I want to I want to conquer as many places as possible, and then be loud and make as much noise so that people can hear it. And there is no plan, there's no expectations. We have to kind of just take what we can get and live a little bit for the moment, whatever that means. Of course we have to be realistic, we have to think about it, but the world changes so fast nowadays that I don't even know what's going to happen next year. So in 5 years we might be playing stadiums, we might be broke. Who knows, man? But I think right now it's the matter to try your best and do your best and see what that takes you. And I think that's kind of keeping it real, and not have like these weird expectations of how it used to be in the 80s, that somebody's going to discover you and throw, hundreds of thousands of dollars at you. That's not how it works anymore. I think everything is so dynamic, everything is so spontaneous nowadays, that just go with it. Whatever happens next year, whatever happens in 5 years, that's what it's going to be. There's zero knowledge anymore. There's no predictions with anything. Tomorrow, something else other than Spotify will come along and ruin the entire music industry, and then you just have to go with it.
No, that makes sense. So yeah, like you said, just be as loud and as progressive, I guess, is a good way to say that. Just keep moving forward with the band, and whatever happens, happens, huh?
That's pretty much it, man. I know we cannot compete with the majority of social media, whatever they're called, influencers and shit. But we do our best, and the world doesn't wait for you. So unless you're really stubborn, you're gonna fall behind. And I think that's our motto now, is just push it into people's faces, whatever that means. Emails, promotion, like spend countless money on it, or play your ass off and just post or whatever it is. Talk to your friends. Just make sure that you give your best. That's pretty much it.
No, I agree. I think that's solid advice for just about anybody that's doing anything, if it's music or like anything in life, I guess, is just give it your best, and hopefully everything good comes your way.
For sure. I mean, you have a skate shop, right?
Yeah, it's right behind me.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, congratulations. That's really cool. By the way, but you for sure know how much work it actually takes to keep something afloat, and to just be determined, and then to keep it over the years and grow something. It's just if you didn't like what you did, you'd go mad.
Exactly. Especially this, because you're right. And just because you brought it up, if you were to ask me where I wanted to be in a couple of years with the shop, I'd tell you, man, I can't tell you. I don't know what this
Yeah.
winter's gonna bring, let alone,
Yeah.
So I guess that is kind of an unfair question, but it is something, a lot of people want to know. Like, do you plan on? I don't know. It's just one of those questions that I think it opens up
Okay.
to more conversation.
To be fair, we would like our kind of short to midterm kind of goal is to score a tour in Latin America somehow. We have a lot of friends already from there. The Undercroft guys are from there. So of course, I think it's only natural for us to try it out there. Everybody is having a blast every time they go there, so we're pretty excited. So that will be in the near future. Whether that takes 2 years, 3 years, doesn't matter. But that is a solid kind of example that we would like to go for. But other than that, man, it's just play your ass off. anywhere.
That sounds like a very solid plan, though. You got the one goal of a tour in Latin America, and oh my
Mm,
God, those guys kill it down there, don't they?
for sure. I think out of we have some pretty realistic chances to actually make it there. It's just a matter of uh, uh, well, just a matter of a bit more waiting and a bit more planning and a bit more trying out and efforts to make something happen. But that's, I think, is a fairly realistic goal, and it's just we have to make it happen. And these guys, I know it will be a blast. No matter what, I know it will be a blast. Whoever we go with, or whatever we play there, we are gonna love it, and we'll make sure that everybody else loves it.
Nice. Have you heard? I'm sure you have the Monterey Metal Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, so when it comes to Metal Fest, actually, we were supposed to play there already, but Corona and shit. So we have a lot of friends playing there, and we're trying to organize something. What I mean, they're packed already for the next year or two because of Corona, but I think it's a realistic thing to say that at some point we will play there, whether that takes 2 or 3 years. You will see our name there.
that's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, you got any last things you want to tell everybody before we get off this? Any words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom. So there's the thing where every time European bands go to North America, US and Canada, they've made it. Whenever North American bands come to Europe, they've made it. So I would love to see you one day in person and have a beer at a gig or something like this. So I would say, this is also another thing we should aim for. And whatever time this takes, I am booking you now. So whatever the future is, I am booking you for a beer at whatever fucking venue in America, and I expect that we can work something out to get a detractor skateboard going.
Oh, are you serious about that?
Dude, why not? I mean, I think it's an awesome. We have some cool designs that you have the cool means to do these designs, and whatever it takes, I feel like it's going to be a work of art.
You know what? Once we're off of this, you and I can we can get together because like these boards here, like this is stuff that I've designed. I can take your art and put it on a board like that.
Well, then. So, for official interview purposes, you know, uh, keep stay tuned. But we should actually talk about this because that sounds like a really cool idea.
That I am totally down with that. So let's
Nice.
do this then. We'll stay on this Zoom a little bit longer, but I'll stop the recording here in a minute so we could talk about stuff that we don't want the whole world to see.
Yeah.
So Boris, it was great talking to you. And again, I didn't state who we're going to be with, but we're on Metal Express Radio, which you already know because of the album review that was posted on there.
Yeah.
So just if you want to give everybody a link so they can go check out the interview, I know I'm going to be doing it as well. Just metalexpressradio.com and then go to the live interviews section and you'll see this video up there probably maybe within the next week. They got to edit it, cut some of my dumb laughter out.
Or
so,
mine.
so all right, hey, Any last thing you want to plug? Any albums, bands? I know we got Full Body Stomp, the new one.
Just all I gotta say, man, is just keep supporting your local scene, whatever that scene is. And every artist right now is struggling, no matter big or small. Corona fucked everybody up. So just go listen to their music, go buy their merch, go, whatever, send them a Facebook like or a message. That's all it takes. And that's kind of what we can expect nowadays. Just support your scene. Without people supporting your local scene, there's not gonna be a scene. That's my message to everybody, man.
That's true. So, yep. All right, guys, you heard them. If you got a local band out there that you like, or even a big band, find them on Facebook, find them on Instagram, and just give them a thumbs up. Let them know that you're there, because that it goes a long way, you know.
Yup,
And
I count my likes on Instagram every day, man, and I appreciate everybody clicking that fucking button, no matter what, no matter how or anything.